Hello. So here's an easy £240 in 5 minutes trading the London Breakout Strategy. And it's so easy. Let me show you. Okay, so here's a chart of the pound against the US dollar. And it's here on Thursday the 20th. Okay, and the London Breakout Strategy is basically trading the pound against the US dollar and waiting, as it says, for a breakout from the Asian session. And the Asian session here in the UK is from midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning when the London session takes over. So this grey box here is the highs and lows of the Asian session. And today it's a very narrow range, only about 21 pips. I mean, it normally is anyway, but this is extremely narrow. The blue lines in there are the Donchian channel, but don't worry about that at the moment. That's something I've added that a lot of traders don't do, but I'll explain that in a minute. So we come across here, and what we're doing is we're waiting for a breakout. You go through the top, it's long, go through the bottom, it's short. And these candlesticks are 5 minutes. So it's a 5 minute chart, 5 minute candlestick. So each candlestick represents 5 minutes of trading. Okay, now I actually went short here because we get a full candlestick, and that was at 9:15 this morning. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for 20 pips. Sometimes I look for 15, but because this is such a narrow range, 21 pips, I'm thinking there's definitely potential for a breakout of 20 pips. Sometimes this Asian session can be something like 40 pips, and the probability of getting a good breakout isn't very high. So I tend to look for maybe like 15 pips, but today it was 20. And I was going to risk 15. And this is where the Donchian channel comes in. So the Donchian channel here, it looks at the highs and lows. So these outer bands, the highs and lows, are the last 20 movements. And the middle line is the average of the high and the low. So I set my stop up here, 15 pips away, top of the Donchian channel there, which, if the price came back to there, it's going to go back the other way. Okay, and so remember, I'm looking for 20 pips and I'm risking 15. And as you can see, it wasn't looking good, staying in this range, and it started to go up. And it started to go up, and it went up above the middle band, which a lot of traders will trade when it go long when it goes up above the middle band, or short when it goes below the middle band. But remember, we're concentrating on the breakout strategy, that's irrelevant. But what is relevant is this big drop here at midday, and it went 30 pips down. And the reason was, and I knew all about this, and that was because there was a report coming out from the Bank of England in the UK here about the interest rates. And what a lot of the traders were hoping for, that the interest rates would be increased, which would be good for the currency. What happened was they voted to keep the interest rates, bank interest rates, at 5.25%, which wasn't what the traders or forecasters wanted. So what happened was, you get this big drop in the pound against the US dollar. And I don't trade news reports. I knew this news report was coming out, but when I traded at 9:15 in the morning, then I was hoping, the trade would go either way by the time the news report came out. But obviously that's why it sort of didn't really do much. Obviously traders were waiting to see what the news report would bring. And obviously it wasn't particularly good for the pound, and the pound fell those 30 pips. And of course it hit my stop here where the blue line is at 20 pips. And I was on £12 a pip, and at 20 pips that was £240. But actually it was £241, because when you get a fast moving price like this, the broker can't always guarantee the exact limit price. It's the same with stops. They can't guarantee the stop sometimes with a fast moving price. Sometimes, it doesn't work in your favour. Today it did by a pound, but it swings and roundabouts. And as you can see here, it's about 4 o'clock now, I think, in the afternoon. There's not really much happened. It's sort of settled within this range. It hasn't gone much below what I closed out at. But remember, I wasn't actually watching this. If I'd watched this, I'd be having a heart attack, because this would have moved so quickly, and it could have bounced straight back up again. It might not have made the 20. It could have bounced back up again, but it did. And now it's settling in this range, and this currency pair will come back to its normal sort of characteristics, and this is what it's doing here in this range. It's normally what happens after the news report. You get this big movement, and then it just carries on like normal trading. So as I say, I don't trade news reports, but because I was already in the market, and I was, I'm not happy to lose 15 pips, but it's part of my risk management. You go into any trade expecting you can lose, but as long as you don't risk too much, which I hadn't, 15 pips, then I was fine with that. Okay, you're never fine to have a loss, but 15 pips, I was all prepared to lose it. So I'm not suddenly going to change it because I know there's a news report coming out. This was hours earlier, but certainly, in my opinion, don't trade news reports because it is gambling. But I didn't, so it could have gone wrong for me. But obviously, the characteristics of the market, I was going by the system, and the system worked. And if it hadn't, I wouldn't have lost much. I just lost my 15 pips. But in this instance, the system worked, and hey ho, nice £241 for 5 minutes work. So that's really good. And if you want to see more of my London breakout strategies, I have more actual video clips showing that. And subscribe to my channel, and you'll see more of these really good looking trades. Okay, I'll see you soon.